Hi, my name is Stephanie Anderson, and I am a foodie for Jesus. Let me ask you a question. When you hear the word portion, what comes to mind? Happy thoughts? Not so happy thoughts? What do you think about? If you're like me, it automatically, there's a word that always follows portion, and it's always control. Portion control. And I think of all of the many food plans. I want to say diets, but I was like, no, it's a way of living. It's not a diet. It's a way of it's a lifestyle. But really, it was more for a fixed period of time, and it was related to maybe the latest book I had purchased or whatever it was. But typically, any diet that I was or experiment with food or whatever it was I was embarking on typically had a component of portion control. And as part of that, there was a lot of measuring that went on. So when I think of portion control, I think of like a food scale, like weighing all the food. I think of, measuring cups, having to measure, make sure that there's the exact amount of everything. Measuring spoons, right? Having to have the right amount. And at one point, I even had something where the claim was, oh, you don't need to, measure everything because you just have these handy little containers and you'd have a certain colored container for whatever type of food you were eating to make sure again that there was the right portion that you were eating, with the idea that if you eat the right portions, not too much, not too little, although in my case, not eating or eating too little typically was not an issue. It was more so about getting too much. The idea was, with eating the right portions, that then you'll be satisfied and you'll get what you need, the nutrients that you need, and then, the weight will fall off and all of that. And it's kind of funny too, because with portions on the side of on labels, it'll tell you what the recommended serving size or what the portion is. And I used to joke with one of my friends in college. I was like, I just calculate the amount for the entire box. So if it's 6 servings in a box, I just assume I'm going to eat the whole silly thing. And I figure out, the number of calories or fat grams or whatever particular ingredient I was tracking at that time. I would just calculate it for the whole package. So when I think of portion, I think of just like limiting and not limiting the foods that I'm eating, and kind of constraint and that word control that goes along with it. But I want to introduce you to just a whole new way to look at portion in a very, very beautiful way. And it's how it talks about portion in the Bible. And I've recently been pondering a related passage in Psalm 119, verse 17, or sorry, Psalm 119, verse 57. And it's, you are my portion, Lord. I have promised to obey your words. That's the NIV. And then in the ESV is, the Lord is my portion. I promise to keep your words. So it's, when I say NIV, New International Version, ESV is English Standard Version, just two different variations of the Bible, same message, just different wording, slightly different wording. So the Lord is my portion. I promise to keep your words. So this portion, as it talks about there, is just so beautiful. And I'm in a study right now with our community group at church. We're going through Psalm 119. And this particular verse, I just have really taken time to pause and soak it in, and like, what does it mean? Because portion, so often that word that's used related to food, and here it is in the Bible in black and white, the Lord is my portion. Like, wow, like that is amazing. And just thinking about, yes, the Lord is my portion, and unlike any portion of food, this or 75 of these overflowing, it's like the Lord satisfies, the Lord provides exactly what I need at the right time, at the right amount. And unlike these things, with the Lord's portion, my cup like overflows. So it's pretty amazing, because portion is mentioned in various Psalms and throughout the Bible. And in some cases, it's actually referred to, related to inheritance. So my portion of an inheritance. And that actually, to me, seems more relevant in the context of the Lord. The portion in that sense. Because with food, I think of it as restrictive. But with a portion related to inheritance, it's like when I think of inheritance, I think of something that if I inherit something, the only reason I get that thing is because of who I am and the family I was born into. It's not anything that I did. Nothing that I did. In fact, it's just part of my family name. It's a part of who I am. And in the Bible it talks about portions related to inheritance as well, but I think of that in terms of the inheritance as being part of the kingdom of God, the inheritance, this amazing inheritance of salvation, of being part of the kingdom that I don't deserve. The only reason that I at all have that is because it's my family, right? The family as being a child of God, and the fact that I've accepted Christ, like I get this amazing thing that's my portion, but I don't deserve it. So as I'm contemplating just the different definitions of portion and how I've been so focused on the food portion, and I think of, wow, how many times have I turned to extraordinary portions of food beyond the portion that would be in part of any diet plan or any food recommendation. But where I look to the portion of food to satisfy me, when I have this amazing, amazing portion through the Lord. And the second part of that passage, the first part, the Lord is my portion. The second part, I promise to keep your words. So it's because of that gift, that comes also that motivation to be obedient and to obey the words and follow the words and do the best that I can to glorify the Lord. So that's what this message today is all about. It's to just challenge you to switch your thinking around portion. Are you turning to the wrong portion when you are in a struggle? Are you turning to food, as I often have, rather than turning to the Lord? It could be in frustration and stress and frustration, in sadness and madness and loneliness and whatever, fill in the blank, any emotion. What is your portion? What portion are you turning to? And just that reminder that just this portion as an inheritance. We don't deserve it, but it is the most amazing thing ever. So I just challenge you to contemplate that and do a search, look through and find other places where portion is referred to in the Bible. It's pretty interesting. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to next time.